Hello, I'm Luke Ford from lukeford.net, and I want to talk about getting more bang for your buck when it comes to the ladies. I was never very successful with women. I developed later than my male peers. I've always been kind of an eccentric character, a nerd, a weirdo, and I was born to blog. So, in many ways, I'm the prototypical blogger. And I wasn't with my first woman till I was almost 22. I was 21 at UCLA, and I was in the first year of chronic fatigue syndrome, and basically I'd spend the next 6 years in bed alone. And I started hitting singles ads and meeting women through singles ads, even though I was basically bedridden about 22 hours a day. And some of them would drive up or fly in to see me. And I finally met one woman who got me to try a medication called Nardil, N-A-R-D-I-L, and that helped me make a partial recovery from chronic fatigue syndrome. So here I am. I feel like I've lost many of the best years of my life. I spent from age 21 until age 27 in bed. I make a partial recovery. I've never fully recovered from chronic fatigue syndrome. About 2/3 of normal, and never managed to get much beyond that in the last 20 years of my life. So I moved to Los Angeles in the end of March 1994, and of course I wanted to go crazy. I just wanted to meet women, and within a few days of getting to LA, I was placing singles ads, and met one woman who promised me that she looked like Julia Roberts, only with bigger breasts. And on our first date, we drove out to Malibu one night and made out on the rocks on Malibu. Another woman flew in from New York to visit me, and then she paid for me to fly to New York to spend a few weeks with her. It's the only time that I've been in New York, so I'm like a man whore. I should be more ashamed of this than I am, but I guess through years of therapy and through my writing, I've learned to simply try to talk more honestly about my life, and to give myself a break. I don't need to constantly pronounce harsh judgment here on my sins. So just because I'm relating things to you doesn't mean that I think they're moral or anything to be proud of. I'm just talking about my life, which is what I do a lot on my blog, lukeford.net. And boy, my first year in Los Angeles, I lived a lot off women. I met another woman, lived with her for a few weeks until a therapist and her friends and her parents convinced her to give me the boot. And then I borrowed $500 from her. And still I lived out of my car for the next 6 months. Really pathetic. As I was pursuing acting, I did pay her back within a month. I've always paid back my debts, and but I've always been poor, and yet I've always been able to meet women. So when people tell me how money hungry and superficial Jewish women are, or Los Angeles women are, I just don't think it's as true as many people say, because I've dated doctors and women with MBAs and women with various graduate degrees and very successful women, and I have never made over $50,000 in a year. But I'm passionate about my work, and some women are just into writers. One of the things that I've found is just broadcasting. The more women you meet, the more chances you have that you'll meet a woman who's attracted to you. I'm certainly a specialized taste. It's women who are into writers or the artist type who are willing to tolerate my eccentricities. And of course, fame has helped. Getting on television or in the newspapers usually allowed me to meet more women. And frankly, there's nothing like a house of God to meet women. I've met a lot of the women in my life over the last 13 years through synagogue, and I used to be pretty aggressive, pretty gauche, pretty gross. but in my old age I've learned to calm down more. But I've had quite the experience. I remember in the 6 to 9 months that I lived out of my car in 1994 and 95, I probably slept with almost 20 women, and about a dozen of those in my car. Can you believe that? Respectable women who would sleep with me in my car. Those were the days. I was pursuing acting, so of course I met a lot of actresses, and actresses are notorious for their loose morals. But I had a lot of adventures. I met one woman who was quite religious, quite a religious Christian, and we're in my car, in the back of my car. I was then living out of a 1979 Datsun station wagon, and we're in my car after this party for a bunch of entertainment people, and we're snuggling in my car, and it's really important to her. I think she has her hand down my pants at this point, and it's really important to her that we pray. And she was Christian. She prayed to Jesus, and I didn't pray to Jesus, but I was happy for her to pray because it helped her loosen up. And then we had sex. So even though I used to drive around with a mattress in the back of my van, so those are the days. So if you're passionate about something and you're smart and you're articulate and you read books, and even if you're an eccentric such as myself, you can still meet women in a supposedly money obsessed place like Los Angeles.